Well, it's kind of a windy day, and air is blowing pretty cold. It's early spring, and what the heck, back when I was alive, we were out boating on the Pennsylvania Canal, which is right down near the river, and they were pretty rough times, I must admit. I had 3 mules, and I had to get them all harnessed up in the morning. I had to feed them and make sure they was ready to work. And then we'd pull these big old boats loaded with coal and iron ore and all kinds of stuff up and down this here Susquehanna River. That's what's out there. Now, let me open up this here glass and take a look down on the river. Oh my God. The canal ain't there no more. And there's railroad tracks where once I had my mules. Oh, that change word, I hate it. Change this and change that. But you know what? You take a look out at that river, and you might just say, oh, Cabby, it's just a river. And I'm here to tell you it's more than just a river. This river is a transportation artery. It goes all the way up to Cooperstown, New York, Lake Otsego. And then it comes down through here. It has a west branch that goes out to Williamsport, has a north branch that heads up into the hard coal fields. But it wasn't just during the days when I was boating here it was important. This river, some of these guys and women called geologists claim it's 330 million years old. So what did really walk along this river? Maybe that Tyrannosaurus Rex. I would have loved to see him. But yeah, but I do know one thing. There were these indigenous people that came in here way before the Europeans came. And there was one bunch of them called the Susquehannock Indians. Oh, there was this one Englishman named Captain John Smith. He come up the river to meet with these Susquehannocks, and you should have seen what he illustrated they looked like. Well, the one looked like he was 6'10", had half the hair shaved off his head, and he had as a necklace a wolf around his neck. And he's meeting Captain John Smith. Well, he was just a little feller. And he had all kinds of armor on, and they couldn't speak one bit of language that they could understand. But yet, through their meeting, it was the beginning of change was coming. It was coming. The Europeans are coming in. And now these indigenous people are somewhat threatened. Now all of a sudden, the Europeans want beaver pelts. And those beaver pelts are for them tall hats they wear. And now these indigenous people start to fight each other and try to sell that to the Netherlanders. Yeah, the Dutchies. Oh, not me. I'm Pennsylvania Dutch. That's a whole different animal. But yep, that's the way it was. Well, I'm now out of character, no longer doing first-person interpretation. I'm talking, you might say, in third person. I'm wearing the clothing of the past, but I'm speaking to you in the language of the present. And so what did Cappy Hummel say that was really truth? Well, it was all truthful. Because this river really goes 445 miles north. And then it comes down and passes us here near Columbia and heads all the way down to the bay, the Chesapeake Bay. And as you look out into the river, you will notice that there's some riffles here. And this is the longest river in eastern United States, and it was forever non-navigable. And I wonder why. Well, those little riffles that are created are rocks. And as the water washed over them, you try to come down here with a boat and you're going to get hung up. And so that changed this river from becoming like most rivers that have towns right along it that were used for industry and on and on. But they did have industry along the Susquehanna River, and we are standing at a place called Chickasawnongo, Chickies Rocks. And right down beneath us here, at one time, there were over 7 big iron furnaces firing away, needing anthracite coal, which was hauled from the coal regions of Pennsylvania to them here. And you know, we're going to discuss about a bridge called the Wrightsville Columbia Bridge. And that was there in the Civil War. And on June 28th of 1863, the Union forces will burn that covered bridge. And if they wouldn't have done that, what would have happened? The Confederates would have crossed, they would have destroyed all of these ironworks, and they would have changed this total environment of this river. History is important. And if we don't know where we come from, then we don't know who we are. And if we don't know who we are, how can we talk about the future? I guess my tip to you is get founded. Put down your anchor. And now start to look out and put the pieces together to form a whole. Well, now I've come out of character. I talk to you as a canal boatman, Cappy Hummel, but now I'm talking as myself, Rich Pauling. And we're trying to give you examples of how the whole has many pieces to it. And when put together, then it shows you everything connected. And so, we are standing looking at the pillars, or if you want to call them abutments, which are left from the days of that 1 mile long covered bridge, which was here and which went up in flames on June 28th of 1863. What does that mean? Well, we have now modern intrusions into the picture. We got a bridge here that goes over to Wrightsville. And then way over there, you can hear the sound of the traffic, is the Route 30 bridge that crosses the Susquehanna River. And you know, these pillars, abutments, sit here. And if not interpreted properly, they have no value at all. But you must take it and make the big whole picture come alive by making this story come alive. And that is one of the techniques that Tilden told us how to do it. You know, it almost seems like it was just yesterday when I stood right here Me being a boat captain on the Pennsylvania Canal, we used to come down here and then we cross over where you see those pillars to the other side to the Susquehanna and Tidewater Canal. Well, on June 28th, 1863, at 7 o'clock at night, the Confederate soldiers were gathered over there in Wrightsville, and they wanted to cross that bridge to get to Columbia and then on to Harrisburg. Well, in order to keep them from crossing, they lit up the bridge. That's the Union forces did. And the wind started to pick up, and it jumped all the way over here, leaping from one section to the next. Before you knew it, the whole bridge was in flames. And I come here 2 days later and just stood here and looked at it and smelled the smoke. And there wasn't one rebel coming across that bridge. They were heading back to Gettysburg. Their trip to the north was ended.